Welcome back to our podcast, Chat with the Chief, or should I say, Chat with the Chiefs. Who wrote this? I'm your host, Chief Rex Trochet, joined by Chief Todd Garrison of the Northport Police Department. Thanks for taking the time to come up here. I know you're super busy. I know I'm super busy. You got the life of the chief. I really wanted to have you on the show to talk about hurricane season. It's fast approaching. Obviously, you're getting ready for it. What are some of your challenges that you experienced from a couple of years ago compared to this year? What was it, Hurricane Ian?
Yes, Hurricane Ian. First, I appreciate you having me on. It's an honor and privilege to sit next to a legend like you.
Please stop.
But a lot of what we had was a lot of infrastructure conditions that really posed major issues to law enforcement and first responders in the city. The flooding was really bad. That segmented a lot of the city to where we couldn't traverse through the city, so it kind of landlocked some of our resources. So we are trying to forward think that if we ever have those floods again, that we can disperse our equipment and personnel in different locations, as opposed to being landlocked and not being able to respond.
When you talk about, so I used to live in Northport. I lived there 20 years, so I have much love for Northport, and it broke my heart when all this was going on. What are some of the things when you're talking about infrastructure? Can you be a little more specific on some of the challenges, the way that Northport is built?
Well, like our main east-west corridor, Price Boulevard, we had 3 bridges collapse. So our main thoroughfare was completely shut down. We had flooding along Sumter Boulevard and I-75. Our interchanges were completely submerged underwater, so we couldn't get in and around the city. And then because the interstate was shut down for so long, all that traffic was pushed off onto 191 onto US 41, and all that I-75 traffic was traversing through Northport, which our roads were already inundated because all the other arterial roads were shut down. So we had our local traffic, we had emergency vehicles, and we had all the I-75 traffic going through the city. So it was complete gridlocked.
Right, and to add to the issues there, without the electricity, you had these major intersections that were working as 4-way stop signs.
Absolutely.
And so that was a major issue, and getting back and forth really bogged down a lot of supplies. So let's talk about you're in the fight now. The hurricane has hit. What were some of the things that were running through your mind as far as mitigation at this point?
Well, the one thing was to keep my personnel motivated and prepared to go out and do the job. So initially, post-storm, I made sure that all of our men and women were able to check the status of their houses and their families and stuff like that, because I needed them mentally prepared to do the mission. Once that was taken care of, we immediately, had resources deployed, and life-saving rescues and water rescues and stuff were taking place. So, initially was making sure that our staff was mentally prepared to go forward and do the mission.
Okay, and then what were some of the challenges from a organizational standpoint, from a strategic standpoint that you had? Were you receiving all the calls for service? Were you working in partnership with the fire department? Because my understanding is the fire department and the police department are under one. It's for the city of Northport, where we're here separated. The fire department here is under the county, and we're the city. Were there any challenges with communication?
Well, our biggest challenge is that we had complete power failure at the police department, which we host our own dispatch center, police dispatch center in the police station. Unlike the other municipalities here that are dispatched by the sheriff. So we lost complete power. Our backup generators failed. Everything completely failed. So the microwave system for the radio system failed also with the county. So we were in complete darkness for probably 18, 20 hours. So we had no dispatch capabilities. We had no radio communications. We had nothing. So that was very, very challenging as far as communication goes.
So is it back to old school?
Yes.
Hey, everybody meet at base.
Yes.
These are your orders. Go out there, handle the job, and then come back?
That is correct. And then once we got live, then we were given a list of backed emergency calls that needed to be responded to from the county. And at that time, I think we were like 691 emergency calls backlogged.
Right.
Between police and fire. So we immediately started hitting those.
And then the challenge there is of those 600 plus calls, which ones have already been dealt with, right?
Correct. Which ones with them dealt with, and most of them, I have to say, were like water rescues. People
Right.
were trapped, and I don't have a marine unit, so I don't have any vessels or anything like that. So that was a challenge initially, was to try to get some vessels, some type of boat brought in to where we can start getting into the areas to do those rescues.
How many hours at this point are you sleeping in a day?
No, what is sleep during
Right.
a storm, right? You know, something that people don't think about. You know, we try to give our staff some downtime, but sometimes you don't realize in the leadership roles that we're going, because we start days before the storms, right?
Right.
So we're already going into this sleep deprived, and then once the storm hits, sleep deprivation is definitely an issue. So a couple hours here and there, you know,
Yeah, if you're lucky.
that's about it.
If you're lucky. Let's talk about turnout. Let's talk about the turnout and the help from partnering agencies. How amazing is it to know that we're all here and we all have your back?
I tell you, that was the biggest thing that I could take away from this, was how all of our local agencies came together and helped each other out. I know your agency, you yourself even came down and cooked, but your agency was a huge help. Tampa PD, the Sheriff's Office, Bradenton PD, you know, all of the agencies came together, and that was huge because, you know, you think that you can handle it, but what you don't realize is that impact of your staff, being able to have that relief come in by other agencies to let them kind of get their mind back into play is so critical in these situations. So it was a huge help. We would not have been able to provide the services that we were providing without the help from our local brothers and sisters.
It's amazing how close it brings us
Yep.
all, because, you know, we were going down there and I'm just like, it could have been us.
Yep.
It could have been us. So we're going to give them everything we can. What was the furthest agency that came to help? I know Tampa was there.
Tampa's there. We had people from down South Florida, the East Coast. We had people from the Panhandle show up. So, I mean, they came from far away. I mean, it was amazing. You know, it's just awesome. I know the day that Tampa rolled in, and they rolled in with all their supplies. You know, it's a big show of force. You know,
Right.
they rolled in with 50 plus cops and equipment. And it was just a huge relief. You know, and I remember telling the major when he was there, I'm like, hey, listen, you know, I appreciate you guys being here. You know, we're gonna hopefully get things back together quickly and get you guys out of here. He says, no, we're here to stay. Don't worry about us. And that's a huge relief. You know, when, you know, as chiefs, we're always thinking about the people that are helping us and getting them back to service the communities that they're supposed to be servicing. But you don't realize in a critical incident like this how important it is to have those additional resources there.
100%. And as chiefs, we don't want to have to ask for help, right? Because we should have planned this all from the get. But the reality of it is we don't have such an infinite budget that we can buy all these types of vehicles. I know Tampa showed up with these big military trucks with boats in them right on top of it. So it was like a boat in a truck.
Yeah.
It was like, I've never seen that before. So it's amazing when you see that 100%. So it is great to see all the executives come together and have each other's back. So I was just so impressed by the showing. The other thing I want to talk about is, what about the showing of the community? Right, Northport. You can't keep Northport down.
No, I tell you what. You know, I'm fortunate to be the chief there and have such a supportive community. You know, our new city manager, Jerome Fletcher, when he came in, you know, he kind of rebranded the city a city of community of unity, and that really truly is. And you see it in times like that where the entire community comes together and they're willing to pitch in and help their neighbors and, you know, everybody else. So it's phenomenal.
what I love about Northport, just selfless, blue collar type people willing to roll up their sleeves, get in there and help, regardless of their status, will give the shirts off the back for their neighbors.
Yep.
It's amazing. And I know that you had some, I think Publix was also involved in this.
Yes.
With Reaper.
Yes.
Reaper trucks.
Yep.
How did that work out for you?
So it worked out great. We realized that we needed the refrigeration to keep all the food and supplies accessible for everybody. So we had connections with Publix, and my deputy chief made a call, and it pays to know people. And before you know it, I had a refrigeration truck out in front of the PD, and we had ice, and we were ready to rock and roll.
It's amazing how your life changes with ice.
Yeah, it does.
It really is. So that's what
until people started getting back to normal, and then we couldn't even give ice away.
Right. They didn't want it. Very quickly how that turns, right?
Yeah.
How it 180s. So that's what Deputy Chief Chris Morales
Yes.
had that connection.
Yep.
And I also say that Publix is an amazing partner to law enforcement.
They are.
They really have, and they'll do whatever, whenever that they can, 100%.
Yeah, they are definitely a huge supporter of law enforcement, statewide, company-wide. But I know, especially in Florida, they really back all the law enforcement organizations, especially the Florida police chiefs. So they're great partners.
They're amazing.
Yeah.
I agree 100%. So now we have hurricane hit. You're mitigating the issues. Law enforcement agencies from across the state are coming in to help. The community's helping. They're getting back on their feet. They're starting to help more. What have we learned? What now? It's been almost 2 years.
Yep.
What now 2 years have you done differently with respect to preparation, mitigation, and recovery?
So our preparation is kind of slow because we still have a lot of buildings and infrastructure that are still damaged from the storm. Mm-hmm. So we're not whole yet. So with that in mind, because we're still limping, I would say, we're not up to a running speed. We're still limping down the road. That we have to think about these storms differently in the future. And again, we have to place personnel, equipment, and resources throughout the city differently than what we currently do. So that's what our teams are working on now, is how to logistically deploy additional resources throughout the city. Because we learned, because the way the water flows, like our fuel pumps at the main facility were completely inundated with water. We couldn't get to them. So that became a huge issue. So, we had to have a fuel truck in front of the station just to keep our fleet going because we couldn't get to the gas pumps.
Now, the bridges that collapse, I know that's not under your purview.
Right.
But those have since been fixed.
Those have been fixed, right.
Hopefully they've been fortified or strengthened to withstand this again. What is some technology that you saw? When I was out there, I really saw drones starting to be used. What is some technology?
So I was going to say the drone program, I think because of this storm, it reassured everybody that the drones were here to stay. Mm-hmm. They are definitely a huge benefit. They are a needed benefit for any type of law enforcement, first responder, executive that's in the process of making decisions. Even city leaders having to make infrastructure decisions. Those drones just prove their weight in gold. So that's something that we are expanding on as our drone team. We keep investing more and more personnel and money into that program.
Yeah, the drone program, the way it's exploded, I would say in the last few years, has really blown my mind, for lack of a better word, because I'm sure you have this technology too, is the drone operator can send you a link, and you can literally watch it on your phone or your iPad, 4K, ultra def, and you can make decisions literally wherever you are.
Absolutely.
How invaluable is that?
I know it's great, and even the tactical side of things, how they're using the drones in tactical decisions, real time tactical decisions. I would have to say it's almost to what our military has. The military leaders are making real life time decisions based on video footage footage that they're receiving. So it's almost putting that technology in our hands to make those decisions.
Hello everyone, my name is Todd Kirkering. I'm the emergency manager for the city of Sarasota. Just like to take this opportunity to remind everyone about these hurricane safety tips of having a plan. Make sure you have your emergency kit that will have up to 7 days worth of supplies for you, your family. And if you have any out-of-town guests, please don't forget them. Have a plan for your pets because it's very important. And then know where you're going to go. Is it safe to stay in my home or do I need to go to a shelter? Know where those shelters are near you. All that information is available, so just reach out to us here at the city, or you can reach out to the county as far as locations for evacuation centers. And just, if when in doubt, ask us. We're here to help you.
Technology is amazing. Has there been anything else, any other purchases that you've made for the agency in the meantime?
So, we tried to get a boat, some type of vessel, but because of the budget restraints, we're still lacking that. The fire department was able to pick one up, so we're able to use those resources. We're investing more into high-end higher vehicles, more pickup trucks and stuff like
Correct.
that for the water. So, that it's a constant struggle because when you get hit with a storm, it's a huge financial impact on the city, and when you're trying to recover from it and try to build your equipment and resources that you need, some things have to wait.
Right.
And unfortunately, we still don't have a roof on our police department. So, that's as a police chief, that really concerns me knowing that we're in hurricane season and I don't have a roof.
What do you mean you don't have a roof?
Right now, it's just tarped in. They're in the process of putting a new roof on. They just ripped the old roof off, and they've got it, the material on it right now, the plastic, I'm not sure what it's called.
The blue top,
Yeah,
the blue
top,
vinyl.
Yep. So, it's not a good feeling
Right.
to know that, if we take a hurricane next week, we're going to be not in good shape.
So, how old is that building now?
I think it was built in 2006.
Okay. So 18 years. I don't know. There's been a massive growth in the city of Sarasota, has there not?
Yes,
Or I'm sorry, city of Northport.
in the county, but in the city of Northport, yes.
Yes,
tremendous.
city of Northport has grown massively, and I know you've had an increase in officers as well, right?
Correct.
How are you working out of that building?
So we're busting at the seams. We're completely out of room in that building. I've gone to the city commission and we proposed a new building. They have agreed that we need a new building. Funding is going to be the issue. So we're working through all that right now, but we have a design. We're in the process of going to 100% design with our architectural firms. So we're in the process of moving towards a new police station, but we are definitely at that dire need.
Right. There's been such a explosion in growth,
Yep.
especially in Northport, and there's just so much landmass. I foresee it could just. It's not going to get smaller, and it's not going to stay stagnant.
Right.
Obviously, it's going to grow
We're
and
at
grow.
104 square miles.
Right.
Currently, we're at like 35% build out, and we're approaching 100,000 population. So it's definitely exploded. When I
Right.
walked in the door, I had 116 cops. I'm at 154 now in 6 years. So we've grown a lot in those 6 years.
And let's backtrack a little bit on the boat thing. What kind of boat would you need? Are you talking like a Miami Vice
No, I'm
speedboat?
talking
Are you talking a
about-
pontoon boat?
I'm talking like a flats boat that we can get into low water and rescue people. So
Okay. Yeah, that's important.
yeah,
All right. Let's talk about, the storm wasn't just this average hurricane that came in. I don't think in the whole time I had lived there in the 20 years we had seen a hurricane like that. And obviously the infrastructure wasn't, prepared to handle it. But to be fair, how long have you had been chief at that point?
4 years.
So 4 years. And you came from Lee County.
Lee County,
Right? You're the 20th police chief in Northport's history.
Right.
You worked at a place called Kenneth City.
Yes.
Go Kenneth City. What was it like changing from being at Lee County Sheriff's Office, right, to you're wearing green, to now you're a police chief wearing blue. What are the different dynamics there that a lot of people don't know about?
Well, I think when you work for a sheriff's office and you're wearing green, the sheriffs have a lot more ability to get things done quicker. Their budgets are a lot bigger. Their equipment's, usually better and more abundant. And their personnel, there's more personnel. So, the Lee County Sheriff's Office is a large organization, and they have a lot of equipment and tools and resources at their fingertips. When you're a municipal police chief, it's a lot smaller, and you have to rely on a lot of other people to come together to help you out. Or we have to convince, as chiefs, right? We have to convince a lot of people over in City Hall why we need things that don't have the experience or knowledge as to why we would need some of the equipment that we have, you know. And I know that, some of the public too, they think, oh, we just want these toys and this and that. I get it. Sometimes it looks like a toy, but it's not. They are, a lot of times life-saving equipment and resources that we need.
So I feel like when you're a chief of police, you just have to be more creative, and collaborative, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's where we're seeing the benefits of the Florida Police Chiefs Association, where all the agencies are coming together within that organization, and they're starting to deploy those resources through the regions a lot quicker, as opposed to waiting to get the equipment sometimes through other resources.
If you had one takeaway from the storm, what is your one takeaway? After experiencing it, going through it, thinking back, what is your one takeaway?
You have to have redundancy in your systems. And I think that's the biggest takeaway. And that's why when we're in this design phase of a new police station, we are using all those lessons learned from the storm and incorporating them into this new build. And redundancy is key.
And when you mean redundancy, explain, go into a little more detail on that.
I'm talking about, redundancy as far as generators go, abilities to provide those additional services outside of the building that you could quickly move from one location to another. Another issue is we don't have a mobile command post that's current and modern. It's very limited in resources. And I think a mobile command post that is able to redeploy in different areas of your city is going to be extremely beneficial to keep law enforcement operations going.
Right. Yeah, I think people don't understand the importance of a mobile command post, because essentially it's your police department on wheels.
Correct.
Because we have the ability to communicate from it. We have satellite dish on it. If comms go down, we can instantly start communicating from there. We could have dispatchers in there. You have your command staff in there making major decisions in there, looking at video.
Yep.
To your point, the drone video coming in, making real-time decisions. I think that's key.
I think another big issue is we didn't have a real-time crime center at the time of the storm, and we do now. And I think the technology and the availability of analyzing all those computer feeds and video feeds and everything going on around us is going to be critical in the next type of operation we have to deal with.
Yeah, so you brought it up. Let's talk real-time crime center. Let's nerd it out here. I'm with you. I'm in love with real-time crime centers. I think they're next level. It's the evolution of policing.
Absolutely.
And to your point, and I think this is what you're saying, is we can be in places where we don't have to physically put officers, but we have video cameras up to determine what's going on in that area.
100%.
Yeah, and that's just from a storm. That's not even talking about in-progress crimes and things of that nature as we move forward, and the ability to maneuver our staff more efficiently. Right?
Yep.
So are you seeing an effectiveness in your real-time crime center now?
We're using them for our major city events that we have. We're using it more and more for even brush fires, large brush fires. We're able to use them, for instance, if there's a major incident on the interstate, all those camera feeds come into play, and we're able to actually in real time start diverting resources or putting resources in different areas because of what we're seeing on the cameras.
More efficiency,
Yep.
without a doubt. And what's what's amazing at this point in our lives is there are already so many cameras out there. Now it's systems built where they can bring them into one spot, and we can now, instead of spending the money on the infrastructure,
Right.
we can just piggyback on what is already there.
Right.
To include live feeds, open sources, et cetera.
And I think what you're gonna see in the future is all of our real-time crime centers will be able to work together. And let's say we go down or you go down or whatever because of storms or whatever, we'll be able to feed into that infrastructure and help you guys out and start relaying that information to you.
Right. Yeah. And that's a good point, that there's this power that comes together with all the agencies developing these real-time crime centers, and we now can link into each other, and not just real-time crime centers with respect to video footage, but also with respect to body-worn camera feeds, right? Also with respect to paperwork, right? This technology that's here is amazing, and the person that's going to feel it the most is a bad guy.
Yes.
Because the days of taking weeks or months to come find you and track you down are over.
Yes.
It's just a matter of 12 hours maybe. And we've seen it on our end. And I'll say now moving forward, less than 12 hours, we're going to be able to put people away.
I wish that I had the technology available to me today that these law enforcement officers have when I was a detective back in the day. I mean, back in the day, you used to have to go down and look at Polaroid pictures of, to create your photo lineups. Now if you have computer generated photo lineups done in seconds.
And I mean, back in the day, we did it with shoe leather. You just walked and met people. Now you can do it on Google, on the phone, on all the different platforms that we have access to. I can only imagine what it's going to be like in the next, people say 10 years. No, I say this. What's it going to be less than 5 years, right? When we start sending drones out to calls for service to be overwatch and give us intel, real-time information as officers approach, and they're seeing that.
Yeah, and that's one of the things that we're putting into the design build of the new station too, is one of those rooftop launch platforms for the drone. So I mean, we're there, we're with you.
Right, it's here.
It's exactly.
It just really comes down to everything, right? Time, money, and personnel, and you got to have all three in order to be effective.
100%.
So, all right, good one. Hurricane season, we're in it. What do you think the city of Northport, the citizens in Northport, even Sarasota, everyone's watching this all over, I hope, not just my mom, but I hope there are people watching this. What do you want to say about hurricane readiness?
Our city's ready, and we're resilient. So even though we took a good hit, we're ready again. Our first responders, city staff, everybody, we're ready, we're trained, we're prepared. We're equipped. It's just a matter of hoping that it doesn't come to us, But if it doesn't, we're ready to go to where it needs to.
I hear you. One of the things, too, I want to say about you is that you're super humble, and I appreciate the fact that you have gone around areas of the state of Florida to talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly with respect to the challenges that you've had, and it really has allowed us to all learn from you, right? So by you doing that, you've made us better, and you're good with it because we're all family.
Yeah, we are. Definitely.
And if we can get better, and there's a resource that we have that you need, we're bringing it to you. Yeah. And I know vice versa.
Absolutely.
It's going to come our way too. So I just want to say that just speaks a lot to who you are.
I appreciate that.
And because some people could have just been like, nope, we're going to keep it private. We're just going to stay within house, and we're going to fix it here. Where you were open about it. Yeah. So
it's just the personal belief that I have is you have to tell the good, bad, and the ugly.
Right.
And even if we do make mistakes, we as law enforcement leaders have to admit sometimes that we make mistakes, and we're not perfect. And it's about humanizing the badge, right?
Right.
Our cops are humans. They're going to make mistakes, and we just sometimes have to own it.
And you're really making the best decision with the information that you know at the time. People, we don't have time machines. I always tell people I don't look at my crystal ball and get an answer. We're making decisions with the information we know at the time, and we're making the best decision we can for the community.
Right.
And I think that's, some of the challenges where people get twisted on that. Listen, man, this has been a great interview.
I appreciate it.
I really appreciate you, taking time from your busy day to come in here and just chit chat. Thank you so much.
It's been an honor. Thank you.
Thanks,
appreciate
brother.
it.
is always live, love, work, and play in our city because we love it just as much as you do. Have a great day.